Hello students! Welcome to Unit 3 Tutorial 7. In this tutorial we'll be continuing with video effects, but we have new effects this time, and these are the effects that are going to allow you to give your video an old effect, which you might want to achieve very often. So to begin with, let's look at our video effects. First one is going to be black and white. So you drag this to your video. You notice that the only slider for black and white is called the blend amount, and adjusting this allows you to change how black and white your clip becomes. If you decrease it, you will see the black and white is blended with the original color. If it's 0, it's the original color, and then gradually the black and white starts blending with it. It looks like it's desaturating, but it's just black and white blending with your color. Now in some effects you would find this clock symbol over here, and this thing lets you animate an effect. So over here right now at your initial position, your blend amount is maximum, so you can place another keyframe over here, add keyframe, and then you can change the blend amount. For example, you want to make it lesser. So as you decrease the blend amount, this thing over here, which shows the blend amount, also decreases. And let's see how it looks like when you play it. Now you can notice that gradually the black and white is fading away and the video is becoming greener. By the end of this video, you can see that it has restored the color to its original. Right, now the next effect is called sepia. Sepia right here. Let us drag this and we will remove the black and white. Now this is quite similar to black and white in result, except that you can choose the hue it becomes instead of just black and white. So the hue can be selected by selecting your color. Now sepia is mostly this kind of yellowish, brownish color. So you select the color, usually brown or yellow, and depending on the blending strength, the color acts like a filter on top of the image. So if you increase the blending strength, the intensity of the color increases until it becomes just yellow. But when you do this, the color stays flat. It's just flat on the image and has no depth. To give depth to the color, you use this called blending fall off. The more you increase it, the more the color gets blended inside the picture and shows depth. So our next effect is called film effects, and this one is really interesting because you can customize a lot of things in this one. It gives an old film effect to your video, and first of all you have the color option, and this works just like sepia. In sepia you selected a color and then the blending strength. So similarly you select the color over here and then you increase or decrease a tint, which acts like the blending amount slider in sepia. You can also just make it black and white or just select a color. So let's say I adjust the tint, and then this grain option is going to give noise to your video. Like by noise I don't mean the sound kind of noise, but little particles will appear on your video like this, the grainy particles, and these are animated already. Let me show you. So you can see these little grains keep moving about in the video, so even though you have an animate option for film effects, you won't really be needing it most of the time because it already gives a lot of motion to your video. Next you have dust. Now to understand and look at dust properly, let's disable grain, move it to 0. When it comes to particles, it's not just dust. You have all of these options: flicker, hair, jitter. And the cool thing about this is you don't have to stick to one of these. Okay, let me show you how dust works. So if you increase the amount of dust, you'll see these small particles on your video, and if you play your video, you'll also notice that these dust particles keep moving just like the grain. So these are like the more smaller and scattered version of grain. If you use them together, I think it will give you a really good effect. And then since you have selected the amount of dust, now you can just set it this way and move on to the next type of particle you want. So when you go to each of these particles, by default their amount is going to be set to 0. So that means that these are currently disabled, but you can enable any of these by increasing the amount, and you don't have to stick to just one. If you've increased the amount of dust, and that's just going to remain even if you increase the amount of scratches. So you have scratches, but you also have dust with it. It doesn't affect the amount of dust. And these are also animated from the beginning, they're pre-animated. So you have the dust and the scratches both move together. So that's it for this video. In this video you learned about black and white, sepia, and the old TV effect. And these are going to be very useful when you want to make your video get that old video kind of effect. So we'll see you in the next tutorial. In the next tutorial you'll be learning about light leaks. So you see, you don't really have to stick to all of these effects that Sony Vegas provides. You can always add on things on your own. Now that doesn't mean you're going to create your own effects and save them over here. It just means that you're going to find another way to add an effect to your video, and one of them is light leaks. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you!